It has been a few days, probably going on a week, maybe possibly, since the last time I did an update for y'all involving the new welfare king that is Brett Favre. But this story that I'm bringing to you is going to lean more heavy to Phil Bryant, who you see on the left, than it is Brett Favre. But since they're linked, why not find a picture of them together, even if they were taken at separate times? And basically, this article that I'm going to read from, that's coming from CNN, is going to be talking about how Phil Bryant has been subpoenaed for the text messages that he was sending to Brett Favre and probably sending back and forth to each other, linked to a drug company that is linked to Brett Favre, and it's all pretty much same. It's tied into the same welfare scandal. Now, this article was posted October 10th, 2022, so it is very new. It was posted today, is the day that I'm recording it. Former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant has again been subpoenaed. So it says again, so more than once, amid an ongoing civil suit in a multi-million-dollar welfare fraud scandal. And this time, attorneys want to see communications between the ex-governor and former NFL and Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre. Attorneys for one of the defendants in the state of Mississippi suit issued the subpoena Friday, asking for several years worth of additional documents and communications between Bryant and Favre, as well as others connected to the case that auditors say resulted in at least $77 million in federal welfare dollars being misspent. That is a lot of money, and they said several years. So it makes you wonder, how deep does this rabbit hole actually go? Like, how many years is several years? Like, what's the actual number? Like, what year did this actually start? As we all know, it didn't just happen. It's just coming out. And I always tell you, I believe in that domino effect. When one domino falls, the rest is falling with it. Like, literally, if this was a house of cards, that thing would be crumbled right now. The lawsuit stems from an investigation into how the state spent tens of millions of dollars in federal money that was intended to go to those most in need, according to the state's auditor. The subpoena was filed by attorneys representing Austin Smith, who is being sued by the state. Smith is the nephew of John Davis, the former Mississippi Department of Human Services director who pled guilty to state and federal charges related to the welfare scheme last month. The state is suing Smith for the return of more than $425,000 in welfare contracts it alleges were paid to him by a nonprofit that received the money from his uncle. Smith's attorney have said in filings that he was unaware the payments he received came from Temporary Assistance for Needy Family Funds, or TAMF. The October 7th subpoena is part of Smith's defense efforts, in which his attorneys have argued the state unfairly chose only certain individuals to include in its massive civil lawsuit to recoup the stolen funds, noting he and 37 other people and entities were named, but others, like Bryant, were not. Much of the new wide-ranging subpoena focuses on text, documents, and other communications related to pharmaceutical company Prevacus and its corporate affiliate Preso IMD. Now, that Prevacus sounds familiar. If y'all have been watching Professor Black Truth's Moment of Truth every day, as you should be, he actually mentioned a company called Prevacus in one of his MOTs. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I think it was definitely had to be most likely the one about Brett Favre, which was fairly recent. I would say no more than 2 weeks ago. And that name Prevacus came up in what he was talking about. So when I read this, that immediately came to mind. Favre was the largest individual outside investor and holder of corporate stock in Prevacus. According to the state's lawsuit, the former quarterback also at times served as a spokesperson for a concussion drug it was manufacturing. The state's civil lawsuit alleges that in 2018, Favre encouraged Prevacus CEO Jacob Van Landingham, what a name, to solicit nonprofit founder Nancy New to use MDHS grant proceeds to invest in the stock of Prevacus. New has already been criminally convicted in the scheme and agreed to cooperate with authorities in ongoing investigations. Over the next year, more than $2 million in welfare fraud funds was diverted to the company and this is what they say, for the purpose of securing clinical trial sites to be located within Mississippi in order to promote an experimental anti-concussion drug, but according to the state's lawsuit, was instead used to buy stock in Prevacus for the people involved in the scheme. I'm telling you, these people are some crooks, all the way down to the root. Favre's spokesperson on Sunday night declined to comment to the latest filing. An attorney for Bryant did not return CNN's request for comment Sunday. CNN also left messages with Van Landingham's attorney and at his residence, but neither were returned Sunday evening. Reporting from the Mississippi Today earlier this year revealed text messages obtained by journalist Anna Wolf between Favre and then Governor Bryant discussing Prevacus with Favre. Wolf also reported the text showed Bryant agreed to accept a stock option offer days after he left office, but the former governor severed any ties with the company after 6 people, including New and Davis, were arrested in February 2020 for connections to the welfare scheme. CNN has not independently verified the text messages that appeared in Mississippi Today, but Bryant did give an interview to Mississippi Today about the exchanges. In that interview, Bryant acknowledged it doesn't look good, but maintained he did not know public funds were being used for Prevacus, even though Favre said in the text to Bryant there was funding for the company from the state of Mississippi. Bryant said he did not read his text carefully enough and failed to notice or connect the dots in terms of the funding source. See how he just straight up lied right there? First he went from he didn't know that the public funds were being used for Prevacus, but then when it got revealed that the text messages that Brett Favre has sent him saying, well, here it is, this is what it is, he comes back and said, well, I didn't carefully read the text messages. So you just went from you didn't read them to you did read them, but you didn't read them well enough. I tell you, the amount of mental gymnastics that these crooks like these two will try to put you through is insane. But again, not surprising. He insisted in the interview with Mississippi Today that he, quote unquote, never asked for, received, or wanted stock in that company. The texts between Favre and Bryant, published in Mississippi Today, are requested in the October 7th subpoena issued by Smith's attorney. It isn't the first time communications with the quarterback have come up as a part of a civil lawsuit related to misspent welfare funds. Text messages released last month allegedly show Bryant worked to help Favre obtain funds to build a volleyball facility. Of course, we all know about that. At the University of Southern Mississippi, Favre played football for the school from 1987 to 1990, and his daughter played volleyball there from 2017 to 2022. Mississippi Today has reported that at least $5 million of welfare funds were channeled to build the new volleyball facility. Neither Smith, Favre, Van Landingham, nor Bryant have been criminally charged with anything related to this matter. Bryant also has not been named as a defendant in the state's civil suit. Smith, Van Landingham, and Favre, however, are all named as defendants in the state's large civil suit, trying to claw back some of the funds misspent in the scheme. And that's the part right there in the end that I just wrote that's so frustrating. It's not surprising, but it is frustrating that they have all this mountain of evidence on all these people that's been involved with this welfare scandal for the last few years, and they just refuse to criminally charge any of them except for that Nancy New and like one other person. But they're just letting these two and a couple of others just literally ice skate out here. As y'all know, when I say ice skate, they pretty much getting off scot-free. It's like, what are you actually waiting for? The other shoe to drop? As far as I'm concerned, all the shoes have been dropping so far and continuing to drop. Of course, we know why they're not going after them. After all, isn't he related to, he's related to Carolyn Bryant. I don't want to get the relations wrong, but I know that they are related. Hell, as far as I'm concerned, it's running in the family. They ain't going after her, so they ain't going after him. And as far as Brett Favre is concerned, and it's Phil Bryant too, and all the others involved, they have the complexion for protection, for the collection. So there it is. I mean, we know lamestream media ain't gonna call it like it is right down the middle, so I might as well say it, and anyone else who's been covering this story for the last month or so. Now, there was another piece of information that I could have talked about in a video, but it was really Nothing really worth covering as it pertained to Brett Favre, and that was him just obtaining 45's lawyer as his attorney when it comes to these proceedings. How far that's going to go, I have no clue. Can anyone tell me? Because I never really, followed anything court-based or trial-based with 45. Is his attorney any good? Because I'm not sure. So that was pretty much that. I felt like it was really no point in me making a video about that, so I'll just say it right here. But yes, very more interesting information. Of course, this is going to go into the Brett Favre Welfare King playlist or whatever it is that I have it under. But yeah, like I said, crooks all around, all the way around. Dirty. And I think what makes this even more worse is the fact that it's happening in a state that has been ranked as the poorest state in America. And we know who's affected the most by this and who could stand to benefit the most from it as well, but they just don't care. That greed is all that matters to them. And remember, it goes back to that text message that Brett Favre sent. The media isn't going to find out about this, are they? And the media got a hold of it. And look at where we are. This is probably his worst nightmare right now. Probably Phil Bryant as well. But you know what? Something tells me they aren't losing a wink of sleep either. Until they actually completely hold them accountable, then really it's like, what's the point of them going through all of this? Unless y'all plan on going on there and slapping the cuffs on them and hauling them off to jail and charging them with something, then it's almost pointless. But because I told my people that I was going to stay on top of the story and I made the commitment, I'm going to have to continue to talk about it. Otherwise, I would have stopped talking about it after a while and just waited for them to see what they were going to do, if they were going to criminally charge them or not. And I will not hold my breath when it comes to that particular action going down. That's going to conclude this commentary right here. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. Click the bell twice to be notified if the bell, for whatever reason, is not working. I upload my videos in a Premiere style format, which means I have the notification button on the thumbnail. Just click it and the notification should come your way, so you will be notified. The links will be down in the description. I'll talk to you in the next one.